The first activity was about finding your reason for applying for the job, understanding your purpose. Now, whatever your reason, you must be clear in your mind as to why the job that you're applying for is the one for you. Now, many people jump from the frying pan into the fire, so to speak, and as a result, they tend to job hop. So if your reason for applying for the role isn't clear to you, then you'll find it difficult to make it clear to the hiring manager. And that will come across in your application and any subsequent interview that you might have. What do you want from the job? What are you looking for? Generally, you're going to be looking for things like personal growth. You're going to be looking for development. You're going to be looking for a new challenge, a variety in your role or something like that. And we touched on what this new job must include, like being easy to get to, no weekend working, a diverse workforce, easy parking, maximum or a minimum of X thousand pounds per annum salary. A benefits package could be among the other things that you're looking for. And we looked at what must the job not have. You could have considered things like targets, shift working, stairs, motorway driving, early mornings, long weekends, that kind of thing. So only you will know what you're looking for. So you will have, in the last activity, you would have made a note of the things that you want and the things that you don't want. Right. So activity one is completed. And now the reason that the purpose or the reason that you're after, or the purpose, your personal why, is going to be crystal clear in your mind. You know what you want to do and you know why you want to do it. This is activity two. And it's the next step in the process, and it's called completing your CV or your resume if you are abroad. There are so many different views on this subject, and some work and some don't. And some will work for you and some won't work for you. It's what you do that makes it important for you. So what I'm giving you is the best practice that I've worked with and what's worked for me and what's worked with me for me when I've worked with other people. When we apply for a job or we seek a career change, what we're doing is addressing a situation that we wish to change. We're looking for a solution to a problem, and it tends to be either a practical or an emotional decision in my mind. On a practical level, you could be looking to learn new skills. You could be looking to develop existing skills. You could be looking to make a change or adding to your CV experience. And for you, or for many of you, it'll be the need to perhaps earn a better package or secure a higher value role, or you just want to be able to improve your lifestyle or your family standard of living. On an emotional level, it may be you wanting to fulfill your purpose, your reason, as we went through on the first activity. Now, you may dislike your role. You may feel that you aren't growing as an individual, or there are no development opportunities. You've got the traveling, you've got the cost of traveling, or the relationship with your colleagues, or something more sinister like being, I don't know, bullied or harassed in the workplace, or a simple clash of personalities. You may feel a little bit unchallenged, or you could just simply, plain and simply, be bored. Emotionally, it could be anything really, couldn't it? So you know what you want and you know why you want it. I know that I keep labouring the point, but it's so important. Throat's gone. Yeah, it's important. What's an old saying that a guy that trained me as a coach said? He said, it's what you do before you do what you mean to do that makes all the difference. And another builder friend of mine once said, is it measure thrice and cut once? And that's always stayed with me. The next thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to look at the advertised job. Yeah, you're going to have seen some jobs that are advertised that ticks the boxes for you that you want. And those are the jobs that are meeting the criteria that you've already set for yourself and you've decided are required for your ideal role. And once you've decided that the advertised role ticks those boxes, that's when, at that point, you should apply. First thing is, where was the role advertised? Do a little bit of homework. Now, this could be difficult if it's via an agency. You haven't provided the business name, because many agencies don't. They just put it in their name and they call it a major client of ours has an opportunity. So that kind of thing does happen. But if you do know who the employer is, then look them up on their website. have a look on their LinkedIn, or do an internet search. Who works for them? Have a look on LinkedIn, as I just said, and see if you are connected to anyone there. There's nothing wrong with you dropping out or feeling dropping out. There's nothing wrong with you reaching out to somebody there and connecting with them, and they'll tell you a bit about the business. If they're a sizable business, have a look on something like Glassdoor, but don't make any decisions based on those particular posts. Just use this to get a feel for the company as an employer. Posting note, I have to remind myself. If it's an agency, bear in mind that they, excuse me, sorry. If it's an agency, bear in mind that they earn commission, and some of the lesser ones often throw jobs at everyone, regardless of the role's suitability for that particular individual. This is another reason why it's really, really vital to be clear with what you want. Perhaps put a call into the business and ask the receptionist or the marketing manager some questions about the business. The effort that you put in all depends on how much you want to work for that particular organization. You've got to give something to get something, right? Right, next, your CV, your curriculum vitae, which means the course of your life, is a document that's your personal marketing document, really, and it's used to sell you to your prospective employer. And it should tell them about you, your professional history, your skills, your abilities, and your achievements. And it should highlight really why you're the best candidate for the job. Because as far as you're concerned, it's only you talking to them, and you've got to stand out. It should tell the person who's reading, the hiring manager or whomsoever it is, a story about you, because people buy into stories. The more it reads like a story, the more the hiring manager will read. And if you've already got a fluid or you've got a live CV, then updating it shouldn't be a hard or an onerous effort for you. But if not, you have got to put in a little bit of real effort. As I said earlier, it's what you do before you do what you mean to do that will make all of the actual difference. And if you haven't used one for over, I don't know, 5 years, let's use 5 years, this is a number, start again and use the one that you've got as a template or a reference. But potential employers don't want to go back more than, say, 10 years or 3 jobs on average, unless it's actually relevant to the role. So if you've had, I don't know, 6 jobs in 5 years, you're going to need to explain the rationale in a sentence. It's fine, absolutely fine, but you've got to be able to talk it through. Now, next is the important bit. This is really, really, really important. When you send your CV to an agency, you upload it in a Word format. It's a Word document, Microsoft Word. It won't be read by a human. It will be read by software. The software does the sift. And the reason that you need to know that is because your CV must reflect the role that you are applying for if you want an interview. Okay, it has to reflect the role. I've spoken to so many people that have sent the same CV off to scores of companies and agencies for their applications. It's wasted effort. An example I can give is, would you go into the theatre and ask every single person in the stalls out on a date? Would you do that? Because that's effectively what you're doing when you send your CV out like that. If you ask someone out on a date, they'll want to have a reason why they would agree to spending time with you, and you haven't given them that. So every single job application that you make should be supported with a specific CV to the advertised role, and it should be attached with a supporting letter, which we'll cover in the next event. Cover letter. See what I did there? So let me repeat that again, just in case I said it too quickly. Every single job application that you make should be supported with a CV specific to the advertised role that you're applying for, right? So read the job spec in the advert. And the best way to say it is to look at the verbs in the job example. So yeah, for example, you're applying for a telesales job for a company. Let me just read this here because I've just wrote down. Right, you're looking for a telesales job for a company that manufactures widgets, and the ad says that the candidate will have to maintain in-depth product knowledge of the service offerings of the company. Okay, let me say that again. The candidate will maintain in-depth product knowledge of the service offerings of the company, and they'll perform sales procedures through activities and opportunities and remain compliant with defined policies, blah, blah, blah. I've got a post-it note there. I'm not, I don't remember everything like that. It just helps me to look at it. So you could say, when you're writing your CV, you could say that I have in-depth knowledge of widgets and have consistently sold to my clients compliantly and successfully for the last 3 years. And I've achieved sales targets 3 years running. Do you see what I mean? So you've matched it in there because that software is going to be looking out for those keywords like compliance, compliancy in defined policies and knowledge of widgets. If you hadn't said that, it's not going to pick you out. That's why it has to be specific. So go through the job ad and highlight some of the key requirements for the role and give an example in your personal statement and in your experience. And make sure that you absolutely reference the essential skills that are required. Yeah, it sounds like effort. It does sound like effort. But you got to remember, as you said earlier on, how much do you want the job? And if you don't want to put in the effort, it means that you don't really want the job badly enough. Okay, everything that you want that is good requires some work on your part, right? That's the way of the world, I'm afraid. Okay, the document itself, the CV, should never be more than 2 pages and should obviously include your name, your details, your address, your email address so that employers can contact you, your LinkedIn reference, put that on there as well. You don't need to put your date of birth. And for diversity reasons, avoid any mention of gender or ethnicity stuff. I can't say it, of gender and of ethnicity. They may ask for that on whatever software you're applying afterwards, and it's up to you if you want to do that, but don't put it on your CV. You need to give yourself every opportunity to secure that role. And the CV should itself include a personal statement. Start with this after your personal details. So after you're under your personal details, that's where you put it. And this is just a paragraph that captures the attention. It makes them want to know more. Don't put too much into here, just your main skill and relate it to the post in order to show the hirer that you meet the criteria that they're actually looking for. This is another reason why the CV should be specific to the role that you're applying for. A generic CV won't do that. And that brings us neatly onto the headings that you should use. First thing, it's going to be work experience. Everybody puts that on their CV. So list your most recent position first and include dates to and from. Do that where possible. And also, where possible, use bullet points to highlight your responsibilities and achievements in the role so that the person scanning can match your experience with the job description. The next section should be education. Now, again, this should be in chronological or reverse date order and include details of academic and professional qualifications with grades achieved. Now, if you are of a certain vintage, you may have done qualifications or had qualifications that are called CSE. Okay. Today, I don't even understand today. I need to catch up, but they used to be A-star. Now they're 1 to 9. Okay. Find the relevant pass. Yeah. So that the people know, because some of the people that are looking at your CV after it's gone through the sift, if you're of a certain vintage, will not know CSCs. Yep, they'll know GCSEs, okay, and they'll know the pass grade of 1 to 9 and stars, etc., 2 stars and 3 stars, but they won't know about CSE grade 4 or CSE grade 3 or whatever. Do you see what I mean? So try and make it comparable. Don't lie, just make it comparable so that people understand. Or just put maths, English, and geography passes, something like that, okay? The next section will be skills. Now, whether you realize it or not, you've picked up many, many skills over the years. So here, include anything that's relevant, including any IT packages or CBT programs that you've used, as well as like key foreign language skills, anything that is relevant. Yeah. If you use skills like communications or project management skills, you should back them up with specific examples because they are quite broad skills. So somewhere in your CV, just demonstrate how you've used those skills. Hobbies and interests is optional. Okay. People don't put, You don't put on your CV, I go down Millwall every Saturday. You don't need to put that. Put something that kind of relates to the role or shows that you can switch off at the weekend and you've got a broad range of hobbies and interests outside of work. You can go and say, I go to watch football, I go and watch. But who you go and watch is irrelevant, whether it's amateur football or Manchester United or Millwall. It doesn't matter. They don't need to know that. What you don't want to do is go and put something like that, and they're, I don't know, a Tottenham Hotspur fan and they hate Arsenal, and you put your own Arsenal fan. Now, they're not going to not interview you because of that, but jokes aside, just take that information out. They don't need to know that. And so it's optional nowadays, and it's only used sometimes to fill space and give the interviewer a more rounded view of you as a personal. References is a section, okay? You should not really put this info onto a CV. A simple statement like references available upon request will do, okay? Now, let me tell you what not to put on your CV, yeah? Don't use phrases like proven track record, goal-oriented, or team player. I'm responsible for. I have excellent communication skills. I'll explain why you should not do that in the worksheet that's attached to this level 2 activity. But the headline reason is those phrases don't tell the hiring manager a single thing about you whatsoever. I mean, why would you write, I have a proven track record of selling, if your CV already details that? Okay. Demonstrate it as a specific example in the CV. Remember, the aim of the CV is not to get the job itself. The aim of the CV is to secure an interview. Okay. The job of the CV is your marketing tool. It markets me. If it's my CV, it's a marketing tool for Reg Gosling. Yeah. And it's designed to secure an interview. You aren't writing the CV for yourself. Yeah, when you're writing it, you are not writing it for yourself. You already know what you can do. It's for the person that's reading it. So put yourself in their shoes. Keep it short, keep it to the point, and keep it interesting. You should also know that, generally speaking, a hiring manager will take, it's not even 20 seconds. That's been debunked. It's about 15 seconds to scan your CV after the software sift. So it absolutely must stand out if you want to be in with a chance of securing an interview. Any interviewer or hiring manager will usually look at 4 to 6 people per post, okay? So if you imagine there could be up to 100 people applying for the same job, if there are like 4 or 5 posts, 10 posts or something, they'd end up with hundreds of CVs applying for the job. So you'll see why following this advice will improve or increase your chances of presenting your application in a clear, concise, and persuasive way, thus improving your chances of securing an interview. Phrases and words from the job advert and the person's spec of the advertised job should be included in the CV. Touched on that earlier on, but just transfer some of the words into your CV so that the software, the ATS system as it's called, can pick it up. Most companies and agencies use the ATS scanning software, so this is yet another reason why the CV must be specific to the role that you're applying for. Finally, things to watch out for. I've seen it. I swear I have seen it, so I'm not even making this up. But do not be tempted to jazz your CV up with colors and image and fancy fonts and borders, okay? Do not write long-ass paragraphs. The reader might lose interest and they might lose the will to live, yeah? Don't believe me? Look at your emails. Yeah, go into your email box on your phone or on your laptop, okay? And just highlight one where you've read all of it. Find one email where you read the whole email. See, there you are. So if it's unexpected, somebody sends you an email, you're looking at the headlines in the first paragraph and you've switched off already, haven't you? It's the same thing with your CV, okay? They want a good CV. They want a great applicant. If they're not being caught out because you've written something long that they didn't need to read, they're not going to read the rest, okay? Paragraphs. Be careful using bold type. It can help sometimes, but don't overdo it. Never ever underline words on a CV. Yeah. Use, what's the font? Use Arial or Times New Roman typefaces, okay? and make sure that the font is no smaller than 11 point. It'll come up on your desktop, and it'll say PT. So it'll be like 10 PT, 11 PT, 9 PT, no smaller than 11. And never, ever, and let me say that again, never, ever use text to speak. It might seem obvious, but some people do, I'm afraid. And I'm telling you now, don't do it. U is Y-O-U, not the letter U. It's would have, not would of. Okay, it's would have, H-A-V, not would of, O-F. I could have, not could of. Some people, because they're so used to writing in text speak, they forget when they're writing their CV. So don't do it, please. Finally, don't put your faith, your 100% faith, in a spell checker, as it's often in US settings and you haven't set it into United Kingdom settings. So use a dictionary if you aren't sure, or ask somebody else to proofread it for you. You may have some writing challenges, I don't know. So if the job is that important to you, consider using a CV professional checker who can help you to improve it. So activity 2, the task is to update your CV. Take your time. Don't overthink it. Just do as I have suggested and follow the worksheet, which you can get by clicking the link in the first comment, okay? If this is a social media, there's a link in the first comment, or you can just go to my website and download the document. I'm going to put it on there. All I've done here is remove this as a 5-day challenge and putting it down as a permanent video and a permanent worksheet that you can work through on activity 2 to help you to write your CV. If you've got any questions, just put them in the comments if it's social media and I'll answer them, or just ping me a line or catch me on WhatsApp. You can ping me a line at reg.g@improvingperformance.co.uk, or you can contact me on any of the socials and just DM me. And remember, do it now. And remember, it's what you do next that counts.